No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Hi guys, this is Sacred Seconds and this is your Monday Mindset. So last week I talked to you about Carolyn Leaf's book, Switch on Your Brain. And in her book, she talks about how she proposes actually that we are wired for love and fear is a learned response, not a natural response. And I've been really thinking about this because I used to be a pretty fearful person. But I hated to fly. And when this whole thing started where I ended up getting a 2-book deal and speaking opportunities and things, I ended up having to fly quite a bit. And as I was reading this about that fear is learned, I started wondering at what point did I hate flying? And I remembered that the first time I ever flew was when my grandfather died when I was in kindergarten, and we had to take a little tiny prop plane from Farmington, New Mexico to Ogden, Utah for his funeral. And I was really sick. I got air sick. It was just a super bumpy, nasty little plane ride, and I got sick. The next time that I flew, we had moved from Farmington to Hobbs, New Mexico, and my dad needed to bring his motorcycle back from Farmington to our new home. And so he bought one-way tickets for myself, and we went so that I could see my best friend back in Farmington. And we made it to Albuquerque, and I was so sick. I just got air sick. And he did this really sweet thing that I just remembered. He rented a car when we got to Albuquerque, and we drove the rest of the way to Farmington because I was too sick to fly. And actually this is going to end up going somewhere a little bit different because of that, but because not what I planned, but I just realized something about that too. So this is cool. So he that was why I didn't like to fly. I got air sick, right? So somebody said to me one time when I was talking about how I didn't like to fly, they said, well, you're more likely to die in a car accident than you are in a plane crash. And I really clearly said, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of flying. And I'm not afraid of crashing. I'm really not. I'm not afraid to meet my maker. But I don't like to be nauseated. And I don't like to be out of control. And I don't like to be in a situation where I'm trapped in a small space and I might throw up in front of strangers. I just don't like it. So it is a learned response. I learned that flying made me nauseated. And the first time that I got on that plane, I knew that I was sad that my grandfather was dead, but I wasn't thinking about being sick or trapped in a little space with no control and flying over the Rocky Mountains and barfing in this little bag. I didn't know that until it happened to me. And that's when I became afraid. I learned that response. So 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. And more than that, if he gave us a spirit of power and love, that's because that's who he is. For a long time, I would have believed that I was in trouble and that's why I was having a bumpy flight. He was going to teach me something. But now that I've said this all out loud, let's think about what my dad did, my earthly father, to protect me against that. He went and rented a car, and I know he couldn't afford it. So, I mean, at that season in our life, they were young and just starting out on his career. And so, I mean, we serve a God that is all power and all love. He's not scary. He's not wrathful. He's not mean. And so when did we learn, or what point did we start to believe that he was? I think this is important. I think it's more important than I realized when I started talking. I'm looking at my notes behind the camera, and it's not exactly where I thought I was going to go with this, but it's true. At what point did you believe? What point did you learn? Who told you that God was mean? Who taught you that? What pastor, what teacher, what parent, what grandparent, what acquaintance told you that God was mean, that he was out to get you? And when did you become so afraid of him that you stopped letting him be a good and loving father to you? I love where this went. I hope that you can really think about this on this Mindset Monday. He's good. He's just good. My friend Bev Sheesby always says, God is good, Satan is bad. God is just good. And I really think that we need a change in our minds and our hearts to believe that he's not out to get us, teach us a harsh lesson. Life has bumps and bruises and turbulent air flights. That he is good, and he may use those situations to form something in you, but he didn't create them. He's just good. He's just a good God. And that's your Mindset Monday. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe here. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, or at sacredgroundstickyfloors.com. Have a great day.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Give up on my way.